that told us. Remember, he said the law and the prophets was till John. How many times do we read where them people came in and say, well, the scriptures say the Messiah is supposed to come out of Bethlehem where David dwelt? They said, we know the Messiah is supposed to come. You know what I'm saying? They said these things. They knew what the law said. What did they add, John? Are you that prophet? You know what I'm saying? They knew what it said. They say our fathers have told us. And he came uttering parable to these people. They had no idea what he was talking about. Even though they had, when he came and told them, you know, you put aside your traditions, but put around the commandment of God for your tradition. He said, truly, Isaiah spoke truly of you. You know what I'm saying? That man sat back and told them they knew everything the book said. They were looking for the man. When that man said this temple was 46 years in building, you going to tear it down in 3 days? Why else was they looking for it when they knew what Daniel said? But they were dog saying the man hadn't came and set in order acceptable words, even upright words, even word of truth. They didn't know what he was talking about. Just like they don't know what he's talking about now. He said, we will not hide them from their children, showing to the generation to come the praise of Yah and his strength and his wonderful works that he have done. Oh, ain't that lining up just what Paul said? He said, I have not shunned to declare the counsel of God to you. I haven't hidden from you. I showed you the praises of Yah. I showed you his strength. And I showed you the wonderful works that he done. I showed you what Yahshua came to do. I showed it to you. For he established a testimony in Jacob, appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers that they should make them known to their children. What did Yahshua tell him? What did he tell the disciples? Go teach all this stuff to them. Remember we read, he said, I get all powers given me in heaven and earth. And he told them to do what? Go teach all the nations. Go teach all the nations. That the generation to come might know them. Even the children which should be born should arise and declare them to their children, that they might set their hope in God and not forget the works of God, but keep the commandment. So you know what that is? That's the faith in Yahshua and keeping the commandment. What is the works of God? John 6:26 now. He say, what is the works of God? Because they don't say the commandments are vital. We got to do them. But don't think that everything always going to automatically go right back to the law, statutes, and commandments every time. Sometimes you got to sit back and look at it. He's trying to tell you something there because he told you not to forget the works of God, right? Yahshua answered them and said, truly, truly, I say unto you, you seek me, not because you saw the miracles, but because you did eat loaves and were filled. Labor not for the meat which perish, but for the meat which endure unto everlasting life, which the Son of Man shall give unto you. For him have God the Father sealed. See, that's what a lot of y'all problem is. Y'all laboring for the meat that perish. You not laboring for the meat that come to everlasting life. You not trying to work that work. See, that's hard work for you. Because you're going to have to take up your cross and follow him daily and deny yourself. And actually make self-assessments and look at yourself in a fashion you don't want to do. And actually do things that you don't want to do because it's things you want to do and you want to keep doing. And you want to try to do in private and do in secret. So nobody knows. Yeah, it dropped me off again. That's just regular. It's really aggravating because I have to urinate something fierce. I can only imagine how you feel with that baby pressing upon your bladder. I know it has to stop. All right, y'all. It dropped me. It kicked me off. But that's what ends up happening, and you got to do something. And the only reason why you wouldn't get up to do that work because your desire to walk in sin is what's going to kill you, because you don't want to put your hands to the plow. You know what I'm saying? You don't actually want to do no work. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of y'all been skating by not doing your work all your life. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people talk trash about Floyd Mayweather about the fight, but one thing, the man was dedicated and he worked to achieve to get to the level that he was at. You know what I'm saying? Now you got to sit back and look at it if you want to seek to save your soul, because you know athletes are known for their laser point dedication and work that they do to be good in their field. You know what I'm saying? Bodybuilders too. I'm just talking about athletes. Now we know it's people in regular business world, same way now. You know what I'm saying? You got to be willing to do the stuff don't nobody else want to do. You know, you'll hear Jerry Rice and you'll hear other athletes, nobody will ever outwork me. You know what I'm saying? But you don't need to have that mind of dealing with this word as if this is a competition. Like, I got to outwork such and such. I got to outwork brother such and such. It's not about that. It's about outworking yourself. Having in your mind that you're never comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Let me read this here because, oh boy. Verse 28. Then they said unto him, what shall we do that we might work the works of God? Yahshua answered and said unto them, this is the work of God, that you believe on him whom he hath sent. Don't you know, we already know if you believed on the Son and you've heard the truth and you learned of him, you would cease from sin, now wouldn't you? So working the works of God and keeping the commandments is going to go hand in hand when you believe on the Son. If that's the work of God to believe on him whom he hath sent, Luke 6:46. If you believed on him whom he hath sent, then let's look at this right here. Why call ye me Lord, Lord, and do not the things which I say? If you believe on him whom he hath sent to do the work, why do you not do what the man tell you to do? You know what I'm saying? That's simple and plain right there. I want you to look at Matthew chapter 11. We don't need 1 Peter chapter 1 because it tell you the same thing. I'm going to show y'all two things out of Matthew chapter 11. I'm going to show you something out of John chapter 4. We're going to call it a day. Matthew chapter 11 verse 27. All things are delivered unto me of my Father, and no man know the Son but the Father, neither know any man the Father save the Son, and to he whomsoever the Son will reveal him. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. I'm going to ask y'all a question. Where in the law would Yahshua make this statement? Why would Yahshua make this statement? And what did this go to in the law for he would make this statement? Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, I'll give you rest. He said, I'm meek, I'm lowly in heart, learn of me. Exodus chapter 2, please. Exodus chapter 2. Probably about verse 23. It came to pass in the process of time, the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of bondage. And they cried, and their cry came up unto God by reason of the bondage. God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and with Jacob. And God looked upon the children of Israel and had respect unto them. When he said, all them that are heavy laden, come unto me and I'll give you rest. Do you not know that our people were heavy laden? See, look, we dealt with this in Luke chapter 18, right? Now we're going to deal with it in Matthew chapter 11. Let's look at verse 7 then. And Yah said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt. Exodus 3 and 7, I'm sorry. And have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. He said, come unto me, all ye that are heavy laden, I'll give you rest. Didn't he set up Moses and told all the people to come to Moses? And that Moses would lead them into the promised land to give them rest. And didn't Numbers chapter 12 describe Moses as being the meekest man upon the whole face of the earth? Now you can see why he make that statement, didn't he? Now you see why he would make that statement. He was telling the people were complaining to Moses about, oh man, he was trying to get him rest. He was trying to get him rest. We're just dealing that in more great detail. I'm just trying to plant something in your brain. But where that came from it was the labor that Moses did. What did Moses did? He stood up, he was seen a proper child. He slayed the Egyptian to show you that he would be a deliverer and a prince. You know what I'm talking about? And then the people were crying out to God because of their labor. And he saw Moses. Let's look what he said right here in Exodus chapter 5, verse 1. Because you already know he came and worked signs and wonders, right? Showed them to Moses, then he showed them to Aaron, and Aaron showed them to the people. So he had already came and told the people, come holler at me, I'm going to give you rest, I'm going to bring you up out of here. Verse 28 of Exodus chapter 4 first. Moses told Aaron all the words of Yah who had sent him, and all the signs which he commanded him. And Moses and Aaron went and gathered together all the elders of the children of Israel. And Aaron spake all the words which Yah had spoken unto Moses, and did the signs in the sight of the people. And the people believed. And when they heard that Yah had visited the children of Israel, and that he looked upon their affliction, they bowed their heads and worshiped. So that means he came and told them, look here, Aaron worked the signs to let you know, this guy right here going to give you rest. Then what did Moses come to do after that? He told Pharaoh, let my people go that they might worship me in the wilderness. Because we were heavy laden. You know he said, I know their sorrows. When you heavy laden, that means you sorrowful. We've been beat down. He said, come unto me. Were we not laboring in Egypt? We were building brick and mortar and slime. We were heavy laden. We were sorrowful. And here come Moses say, y'all come on, holler at me, man. I'm going to give you some rest. And in the book say this man was meek, the meekest man on the face of the earth. And you got the Lord coming back telling you the same exact thing. John chapter 4 verse 34. One of these days, man, we might figure this thing out. What y'all think? We just might figure this thing out. John chapter 4 verse 34. Yahshua said unto them, back me up about verse 30. Then they went out of the city and came unto him. In the meanwhile his disciples prayed him, saying, Master, eat. But he said unto them, I have meat to eat that you know not of. If he had meat to eat that you know not of, what does take us back to? Ain't been that long since we looked at it. Out of the eater came forth meat. Therefore said the disciples one to another, have any man brought him aught to eat? Yahshua said unto them, my meat is to do the will of him that sent me and to finish his work. Ain't that what he told Ezekiel, eat then roll, then go do their work? That's what y'all meat ought to be. To do the work of him that called you. He's called you with a Kodesh calling to save your soul. That should be your meat. Didn't this man tell you, a man don't live off bread alone, but every word that proceed out the mouth of God doth man eat. Job said, I esteem thy words more than my necessary food. Why you think back he told these people, man, I got meat. He said, I got to eat some meat up. You don't even know about it. Say not ye, there are yet 4 months, and then come harvest. Behold, I say unto you, lift up your eyes and look on the fields, for they are ripe already to harvest. And he that reap receive wages, and gather fruit unto life eternal, that both he that sow and he that reap may rejoice together. Herein is that saying true, one sow and another reap. I sent you to reap wherein you bestowed no labor. Other men labored, and you enter into their labors. Where in the law would he be basing this statement off of? Anybody know in the law where he would get this statement from? Because he just said, herein is the saying true, one sow and another reap. You know, in the book of Ecclesiastes, let's read it real fast. And this is not pertaining to what he's talking about, because he's sitting there telling you, one sow and one reap wages, one gather the fruit, return to both he that sowed and he that reap may rejoice together. Before we look at that, hold on. 1 Corinthians chapter 3. Remember how we read what Paul said, and we read in 2 Corinthians chapter 4 when Paul was mentioning that in us death is work, but in you life, so we can all rejoice together. You know, in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, about verse 8. Now he that planted, he that water are one. Or verse 7. So neither he that planted anything, and neither he that water, but that God give the increase. Now he that planted, he that water are one, and every man shall receive his own reward according to his own labor. For we are laborers together with God, and ye are God's husbandry, ye are God's building. See, one a sow and another a reap. You know what I'm talking about? You can have somebody plant the word in one person, another person reap that. You know what I'm talking about? Now I'm going to sit back and look at you now, because he just sat back and said, you have bestowed no labor. I sent you to reap where you bestowed no labor. Other men labor. You entered into their labors. Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 7. Because when you turn back and look at it, the disciples were coming in not to their own labor, but to the Lord's labor. He did that work. Deuteronomy 6 and 7. Well, not 7 ain't what I want. It's 6 and 10. And it shall, Deuteronomy 6 and 10, it shall be when Yah thy God shall have brought thee into the land which he sware unto thy fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give thee great and goodly cities which thou build not, and houses full of good things which thou fill not, and wells dig which thou dig not, vineyards and olive trees which thou planted not. When thou have eaten, thou shalt have eaten and be full. Then beware lest thou forget Yah, which brought thee forth out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. Remember how we read in Hosea chapter 13 on Wednesday, he said the people got fooled, they forgot him. Thou shalt fear Yah thy God and serve him and swear by his name. Now you sit back, a house is full of good things. Yahshua's the house. Ain't a lot of good treasures in that house. You know, in the actual tip, because you sit back and look at it, see, we can take this different way. Remember how we just sat back and read in Isaiah 39, how Hezekiah showed him everything in the house. But he showed it to a Gentile, somebody who wasn't supposed to see it. When Yahshua sold all the treasures in his house, who did he show it to? He showed it to Jews. He showed it to his children. You know what I'm saying? You sit back and look at it, he say in a house, in 2 Timothy chapter 2 about verse 20, he say in a goodly house, there's vessels of gold and the silver, you know, and some of the wood. And each one that been cleansed and purged is a vessel unto honor, meet, and good for the master's use. So when we sit back, and Lord will, we're going to come back and we're going to dig into this, and more in depthly, especially the house is full of good things which you didn't feel, and wells dig which you didn't dig, and vineyards and olive trees. All these things is talking about what's in Ephesians chapter 2. By grace ye are saved. Because it wasn't nothing that you did. It was the labor of one man. He put them into the labors that he started, that they could be able to reap the benefit off a labor that they didn't even do. Now we coming in behind them seeking to reap a benefit off a labor that we didn't even do. Because his statement here in John chapter 4 goes right back to the law, don't it? He say, I'm allow you to reap where you ain't put in no labor. We able to reap everlasting life. We able to reap the Ruach HaKodesh not because we died, but because he died. Because while we were yet in our sins, God showing his love to us, this man died for the ungodly while we were yet without strength. So that shows us that the work of a righteous man, what? Tends to life, don't it? That means if we sit back and we do the same work of this righteous man, because he say, what are the works? The works of him? Believe on him who God has sent. What will it tend to? Life. We're into the Romans chapter 6, verse about 19, I should say. We'll end it there. That'll be good. That'll be good. Romans 6 and 19. I'll make it 16. Work it all the way down. Know ye not that to whom you yield yourselves servants to obey, his servants are ye are to whom you obey, whether of sin unto death or obedience unto right. Remember, servants do what? They work, right? So whether you work for Satan, you gonna die. Remember, the fruit of the wicked is sin. The labor of the righteous tend to life. But God be thanked that ye were the servants of sin, but you obeyed from the heart that form of doctrine which delivered you. Being then made free from sin, you became the servants of righteousness. I speak after the manner of men because of the infirmities of your flesh. For as you have yielded your member servants to uncleanliness and to iniquity unto iniquity, even so now yield your member servants to righteousness under Kodesh. For when you were the servants of sin, you were free from righteousness. What fruit had ye in those things whereof ye are now ashamed? For the end of those things is death. But being now made free from sin and become servants to God, you have your fruit unto Kodesh and the end everlasting life. And what did that go back to? He that soweth to the spirit, reap to the spirit life everlasting. He that soweth to the flesh, reap to the flesh corruption. So you can't be slothful and not put your hands to work. when it come to your soul. Because that was talking about it in the natural level. You know what I'm saying? It even say, sit back and say in the book of Proverbs, it says, slothful man say, I can't go out in the street. There's a lion out there that's going to eat me. You know, I knew a dude like that. He said, man, I got warrants, man. I can't go out there and look for no job. Nigga say, nigga, that's a misdemeanor warrant. You scared of 30 days in the county, nigga? I'm real talk. For the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life through Yahshua HaMashiach our Lord. Praise ye y'all for Yahshua the Messiah. Y'all understood all this stuff this evening? All right, y'all give me one moment.